Hey guys, welcome back, and a bit more of a serious topic today. I just want to talk about the Valentine's Day strike that was happening with gig workers all around the world, allegedly. And I just want to do, my 2 cents on it. Just a heads up, guys, if you've got young kids around, earmuffs, there's going to be some swearing in this one, more than likely. A couple of things that really grinded my gears about it all. But first, what happened? What is the Valentine's Day strike? So, I think it was about, 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, they started talking about doing a strike on Valentine's Day. Show the love. I think I heard rideshare professor Torsten talking about that. He was pretty much driving this campaign in the background. Show the love. They wanted to do a strike for gig workers on Valentine's Day. There's, rideshare, Uber Eats, Doordash, all the companies, all the gig workers to strike to show the billion-dollar companies that, well, multi-billion-dollar companies, just show the multi-billion-dollar companies that, we are not happy. We are not happy about stuff. So there was a strike on Valentine's Day, and, news coverage picked it up and so on and so forth. But I just kind of, let's start running through my 2 cents. And yeah, earmuffs, guys, like for the kids, they don't want to hear Uncle Chris swearing here. What the fuck? What the fuck? Seriously. Okay, so let's start from the top. A strike. So what is the change you want to see? If you're striking, you want to see a change. And, striking is, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Oh, let's show these multi-billion-dollar companies that we're not happy. You need a figurehead at the table in a strike, talking to these companies or talking to each specific company, saying, hey, we want this. We are striking for this specific change, these specific little factors here, whether it be like a 3% increase or a different way that we're paid or what have you, different safety things. We want certain safety precautions added in. There wasn't that. That didn't happen. It was just people on social media, mostly Americans and Facebook groups, saying, I'm not happy, let's do a strike. Yeah, let's do a strike. This will show them. So that kind of brings me to my second point. Social media driven. The majority of gig workers are not in, social media Facebook groups. They're not in Reddit groups. They're not watching social media influencers talking about this kind of stuff. They get a job doing gig work. That's what it is, guys. It's a job. They get a job doing it. They do their job. They go home. They switch off. They don't go spending their free time watching people on YouTube like myself. They don't go spending their free time jumping into Facebook groups and arguing or complaining about their job or sometimes talking positive things about their job as well, guys. They don't do that. The vast majority do not do that. And because this was an online-driven movement, the vast majority of people were not aware of this strike. They may have became aware of it when it hit the press, the mainstream news. They thought, is there a strike? I didn't know. Maybe the vast majority were not prepared for this. The vast majority were not consulted about, what do you want to see? In fact, no one was consulted about what do you want to see? What changes do you want? This was just driven by, we're unhappy, let's do a strike. Show us the love, show us some love. Whatever the motto was behind it that they were trying to push on it, it achieves nothing, guys. Because these multi-billion-dollar companies, say if 100,000 drivers striked, 100,000 sounds like a lot of people worldwide, doesn't it? But that's nothing. It's a drop. A drop. There is millions of gig workers. Millions of gig workers. We're talking a fraction of gig workers would be striking, would be aware of the strike. And even the ones aware of the strike, many of them would say, you know what, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I'm going to work anyway. And, if it did make a difference, if it was noticed by the gig companies on the day, our driver levels are low, they're too low to sustain the orders, what do the gig apps do, guys? Surge comes on, peak comes on, areas turn busy, promos, specials, offers all start popping up to get people logging on. And it comes down to at that point, so say if you were on the strike, what's your number? Is an extra $5 peak and then you jump on? Extra $10 pops up, would you jump on? Would you jump on, and a question, guys, in the comments, would you jump on if the peak happened and you were striking? Do you think that people who weren't aware of the strike would have just been like, oh, sweet, this is a good day. Wow, this is a great day. We're busy. If it made a difference, if that amount of drivers made a difference. And I don't think that amount of drivers makes a difference, especially when the focus on the strike is we're unhappy, we want things to change, but no one's at the table. Once again, no one's at the table saying we want exactly this to change. We want exactly that to change. And then if we like high level it back even further, sorry guys, just a little bit fucking gears grinded here. Like I get people are unhappy. I get there are people who are unhappy out there with it. But okay, let's spin it back even a little bit further. Everyone must go on strike. Oh, all gig workers have to strike. You're a fucking scab if you don't strike. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's cut it there. Okay, let's look at America. New York City, should they be on strike? Seattle, should they be on strike? California with Prop 22 already passed, should they be on strike? Why should they be on strike? They already got the way they wanted. They got legislation in. New York's getting paid a lot more. Seattle's getting paid a lot more. California's got Prop 22. That's paying a lot more. That's boosting up earnings. So they've already won. There's legislation in place. Why should they strike? What would they be striking for? So should it only be other states in America that don't have legislation that are going to strike? Or is it everyone? Get it right. Now in Australia, I'm going to talk to my home turf now. In Australia, people are like, yeah, strike, show these billion-dollar fucking American companies. Let's go on strike and we'll show them. Guys, we can't. We can't go on strike. Why? Why can't we go on strike, Chris? Oh, you just sound like you fucking like blah, blah, company shill. No, we can't go on strike, guys, because the closing the loopholes bill passed. What does that mean? That means that any concerns, any grievances that we have now as drivers, we individually or a union or a lobbyist or any party that wants to get involved now goes to Fair Work to air grievances. So striking to the company, what's it do? They don't have to do anything. Because all the billion-dollar companies now in Australia, doing all the gig companies in Australia, they're like, we don't have to change anything. We don't have to do anything because you guys passed a bill where you now are responsible for going to Fair Work yourself and then raising your grievances for review and then see if anything happens from there. So we've lost our right to strike. We've lost it. When we pass legislation in this country saying everything now goes to Fair Work, contractors now go to Fair Work for gig work, when that passed through, you lost your right to strike. The companies don't have to change anything. Why would they change anything? So let's look at this at a pretty brutal fucking level. So if the companies changed something, all it takes is someone to go into Fair Work again and be like, I want this different change, and they've got a conflict. So why would the companies change things or improve things when Fair Work's going to override anything that's put through and passes through on a widespread change? They're not going to change anything. So we've dug our fucking graves here in Australia. Our graves are fucking dug until people start going to Fair Work, unions start going to Fair Work, lobbyists start going to Fair Work, whoever goes to Fair Work to make things change, because then that's when the gig companies will change. We can't strike here anymore because we've passed legislation, guys. It's now in the government's hands. It's not the company's hands now to change things. Passing legislations, put it across into the government. So fucking good on us Australians. We screwed the pooch, we cooked the goose over here. So yeah, I hope people from the union are happy because you guys still have fucking done nothing. Okay? You have not a single thing loaded into Fair Work to make any changes, but you're resting on laurels saying, hey, we passed legislation. The legislation has changed nothing, which means we can go to Fair Work now. So, that's a bit of a rant. So, secondly, you're not an employee. We're not employees. We're independent contractors, or I just call myself a contractor. I'm a contractor to these gig companies. I take on the best contract. I'm not an employee of the company. When a company has employees and the employees go on strike, whether organised via a union or organised by, employee delegates or, consultants that come through and organise the workforce to strike, that's spread through the entire workforce and say, hey, we have a strike on this day between these hours doing these specific things. And we're on strike for these specific conditions, these specific things to change. We're in talks with the company, backwards and forwards. So once again, someone's at the table talking to the company. That did not happen here. No one's at the table talking to the companies. People are just complaining, making noise. So no one's at the table talking to the companies, and the companies come back and say, oh, what if we do this? And they go, let's check, let's review it. No, actually, we want that, but we want this as well. Or we'll meet you halfway here and do this and that. So there's no backwards and forwards. There's no talking at the table on this Valentine's Day strike. Okay, so we're not employees. So that's how a traditional strike would work, because we're all contractors. I hate to say it, but if this job's not right for you, no one's forcing you to show up and work it. Have you tried other things? Have you tried starting your own business? Have you tried a W-2 job or a traditional employment, trade employment? No one's forcing you to do gig work. Of course, it would be great if we got paid more, but I think the causes are more macro factors than anything right now. The economy is in the fucking shitter. It's not good out there right now. Everyone's spending all their money on rent and mortgages. We're absolutely getting drained currently. Inflation, like the cost of living, through the fucking roof. Customers are not spending as much money. More people are signing up to gig apps, trying to make extra money to keep up with these cost of living increases. And there's an influx of drivers. There's a saturation on the market right now from all the new people signing up, and even the old people sticking around longer than they should have. Longer than they should have? What do you mean by that, Chris? That's an interesting thing. I read a report that 6% of gig workers last more than 2 years. So after 2 years of people just doing it casually, full-time, however they choose to contract on these apps, only 6% are still doing it after 2 years. But now, because of these increases to cost of living, the poor economy that we're in, people are sticking around longer and longer into it. Where there might have only been a 6 months to 12 month turnaround in the past, now they're over the 2 year mark. More people are sticking around. So we've got more people signing up, more people sticking around, customers spending less orders to go around, and that's all compacting in. So where does the change happen from a strike? Well, that's the question, isn't it? So comment below what you think should change, because that's what hasn't happened here. No one's really said, or no one's really gone to the table with these companies and said this is exactly what. There's no figurehead talking directly with them. But you know what? Comment below, guys. It's a social media thing. What do you want to change? What should they change? We all want to be millionaires. We all want to get paid $1 million per delivery, $100,000 per delivery, $10,000 per delivery, $100 per delivery, $10 per delivery. How much do you want to get paid per delivery? What other things aside from money do you want to see from these gig companies? Do you think that all new drivers should be cut off for 6 months? Oh, there's a concept. There's something practical. A hiring freeze for 6 months, except for in new areas that they're launching. Imagine that. And then we can see if the drivers stick around, if they need to keep rehiring, if it balances out from people quitting. I don't know. Just pull it out of the head, throw it there. That's just an idea. Haven't heard that one before. A hiring freeze for new drivers. So no new contractors for X period of time. Imagine putting that on the table. Would that fix things a little bit? Maybe. It could, depending on the area. But yeah, it's, once again, it comes back to, like, most of the drivers were not aware of this strike. The majority do not check social media groups, are not in social media groups, do not watch gig tubers online. Many drivers don't speak English. All this strike was in English. It was all English-speaking people talking about a strike. There's many drivers that don't speak English, or English is their second language, and they may not fully grasp what's going on. What about the people that are just trying to keep themselves fed right now? So they're just keeping their head above water. Do you think they can afford to lose a day of work? What if they can't? Should they starve for a day for a strike that's not going to work? Let's be fucking honest. It's not going to fucking work. It's not going to change shit. It's not going to change fuck all. And yeah, should they lose a day of work? Should they go hungry for a day? Because some people want to get paid more? Because some people want changed conditions? Some people want whatever it was? Once again, no figurehead at the table. Once again, no list of demands to these companies. This was just a whole bunch of noise, online trash and garbage. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but the intentions are good. That we want drivers to get paid more, probably. We want drivers to have safe conditions out there. We want drivers to have more control over their work. While the intentions there are good, it's not being done in a way that works. The strike's not being done in a way that works. That's as blunt as it can be with it. It's an idea. Like, I spoke with a delivery driver who dropped off some food to me recently, and English was their second language. They've been doing the gig for about 3 months. I just had a quick chat. I asked him how much he got paid for my delivery. It was $4.50. It was an add to route delivery stacked on. And I said, bro, like, you shouldn't have taken that, man. Like, it's way too low. And on a quick chat with him, he had an Eastern European accent. I'm not sure what country he originated from, but he'd only been here for a while. He said that he didn't know he could decline. He didn't know he could decline offers that came through. He thought he'd get in trouble, and he thought he wouldn't get orders again if he declined one. And I said, no, that's absolute rubbish. And yeah, he just did not know that, because English is not his first language, so he's not in all these driver groups where they're speaking English and they're running through all this kind of stuff. He's not watching gig tubers online speaking English. It's not his native tongue. He's not watching that kind of stuff. And yeah, he's just out there trying to earn some money, make some ends meet, and yeah, keep driving. So he's not in these groups. He doesn't know about the basic stuff for the gig, let alone striking for the gig, where it gets more complex and there's more needs. And a lot of these problems that are being raised, that are being talked about, they are originated from online only. You don't hear some of these problems from just drivers out there who aren't in these online groups, because they become very echo chambery. These online groups become echo chambers of the similar complaints. If you jump into a Facebook group, just different ones, like the Decline Now movements, or Doordash drivers with attitude or something like that, or even Doordash Driver Australia, the one that I mod for, you'll see it's very, very echo chambery. The same ideas just regurgitate over and over and over again, and people feed off of it. People learn them ideas. People pick up their mentalities, because that's all that people talk about. It's just these certain things. And there's different things they talk about between different groups, guys. It's not all a universal chat. They've all got different things popping up, all different concerns. Just like different gig tubers talk about different things. Different gig tubers have different perspectives. But yeah, the strike, I don't think it worked. I didn't think it was going to work. I went out driving. I did a couple of deliveries before I started my W-2 job, or my traditional employment, and then I did a couple after I knocked off from the shift. I was like, yeah, sweet. The orders are there, and you know what? Australia's not striking. We weren't part of this. This was an American thing mostly. People tried to get it happening in Australia a little bit, but you know what? It wasn't the unions over here telling us to strike. No. Why? Because a strike doesn't work in Australia. A strike doesn't work because we are legislated, just like New York's now legislated, Seattle's legislated, California's legislated. So when you're striking, what do you want? Do you want legislation? Once again, you need someone, figurehead at the table, saying we want to legislate then. You need to be talking to politicians to get things legislated. You need to start doing that movement. So the strike then would be, you have some papers, a bill legislated saying this in my state. And this key things, guys, especially over in America, in my state, this legislation, we want this passed through, and we're all going on fucking strike until this is passed. Politicians, do your thing. We're on fucking strike. Companies fucking deal with it. So on and so forth. And then, yeah, that's the approach, guys. You need it out there. You need someone at the table doing this stuff. Did not happen this time. Look, I understand Torsten was the guy driving this one through, and he did a lot of stuff. He did a lot of outreach. He got the news involved and stuff like that. And kudos to him. He really pushed it. He made some noise, and he did raise some valid points that drivers are unhappy. And he got drivers talking about it. And I think that's a very important thing, having people talking about this stuff. Not to silence them, but to have them talking about it. So, what should happen next? Well, it's up to you guys. Did the strike work? Guess what happens when a strike doesn't work on day 1? You do day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and you keep striking. You keep striking, guys. But if the strike's not going to work because the vast majority of drivers aren't striking, and the gig apps don't care, why are you striking? If it's not working for you, find something different. If you're not happy with it, ask yourself, why aren't you happy with it? Write it down in paper. What am I not happy about in this job? Write it down, because then at least there's something in writing somewhere in the fucking world saying I'm not happy about XYZ. So yeah, write down what you're not happy about. Fuck it, comment it below. What aren't you happy about with gig work? Comment down below what you don't like about it. If there's stuff you do like, of course, comment it as well. We're not about super ultra negativity on this channel here. We try to keep it light and easy. This video is a bit of fucking shambles with it all, but you know, had to talk about it. Big rant about fucking strikes, and done. All over Red Rover. What are your fucking thoughts? Leave it down below, you champions. Catch you later.